Good morning. I am always very humbled when a viewer comes to me and trusts me with telling their story. And it's happened quite a bit. We did the show Saving Bobby. When Bobby was missing, his mother came to me and asked me to please do a show. And we did. And Bobby's story, at least to a point, had an ending. We found Bobby, and while he continues to struggle to this day with his heroin addiction, his mother knows where he is. And while he did have a relapse a few weeks ago, he is in rehab again, and he continues to fight for his life. He wants to get better. This story that I'm about to tell you doesn't have an ending quite yet. It's kind of a little bit of a mystery still. It only just happened in September of this year. And you're going to see me do something I don't often do. I'm going to refer to notes because I am telling Stevie's story through his mother, and I want to make sure I get it right. This is not my opinions. This is not a show about politics or about something I believe in. This is Stevie's mother who is bringing this story to you, wants her son's story told to help others who may be in the same situation. And there are millions of others in this situation, believe me. Some of you out there are going to see yourselves or your loved ones in this story. And this is the reason I'm doing this story. It has a little bit of everything in it. And I hope that if any of you out there who watch this see yourselves in this story, or have a way that you've already been through this and gotten through to the other side, if you can help Stevie's mom as she travels down this new normal that she has been forced to live with, if you can help, you contact me and I will get you in contact with her. So, The Day Stevie Died. That's the title of the show. And again, I want to thank Stevie's mom for trusting me with his story. It's not a job I take lightly. And thank her for her courage and her bravery. But she's a mom, and like any mom, she's going to fight for her baby boy to make sure that he gets justice. If justice is indeed what he deserves. At the end of this, you're not going to know for sure, but you're definitely going to have questions. I know after hearing this story, I have questions. If you Google Stevie and you see his obituary, there's not a lot of there. He died unexpectedly at age 27 in the company of his girlfriend. That's all you get. There's so much more to it than that. And according to his mother, the investigation is ongoing. But we're not going to get ahead of ourselves yet. This is going to be a series of shows. And at the end, it will be up for you all to decide. And if any of you feel that you have experienced the same situation, I definitely want to hear from you. And so does Stevie's mom. The day Stevie died, it was Labor Day weekend. And his mom got the call every mother dreads. Her 27-year-old son was dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. She was in a different state. She was down south. Stevie was in Maryland. Now imagine that. To add insult to injury on this one, we all know what the summer of 2018 was like. It was the summer of terrible weather, hurricanes, torrential downpour. Stevie's mother is not a rich woman. She couldn't just hop a plane. Not to mention the fact that because of severe weather up and down the East Coast that weekend, there weren't a lot of planes available. So she got in her car, as a mother would do, and she drove. She drove through horrific weather conditions to get to her baby boy. A little bit about Stevie. He grew up as a normal kid. You know, he went out and played with the neighbor kids like we all did. And in his teenage years and middle years, teenage years, there was an older kid in the neighborhood that was a bully. And he decided he didn't like Stevie. And he bullied Stevie, he taunted Stevie, he got other kids to bully Stevie, and even at one point attempted to physically assault Stevie. And at that time, his mother reports that she saw a change in Stevie, that he became more introverted. And he didn't like to, be overly social. He had a close-knit group of certain friends who to this day call his mother Mom, which is so cute, and gives her great source of strength. At this time, they are still with her today and looking out for her and checking in with her. But he wasn't overly social, a little shy, and as an adult, he started suffering from panic attacks, anxiety, and depression. Again, millions of Americans, young adults, suffer from the very same thing. And then Stevie met a girl. He was always close with his mom, talked regularly, Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas dinners, but he was an adult. I mean, they didn't talk every day. But once he met this girl, his mother noticed he sort of pulled away from his family. The calls got farther and farther between. Again, nothing to worry about. It happens. It's what kids do, especially young men who are in a new relationship. But Stevie was still having anxiety, panic attacks. He was seeing a doctor. He was taking a few script medications, and we will talk about that. That'll be tomorrow's show. But he decided to move in to save money for an apartment of their own. He moved in with his girlfriend at her family's house in Maryland. And ironically enough, he actually ended up being in a situation, a living situation, where he was bullied by the people in the house. They didn't seem to like him. They called him names. And he soon became very uncomfortable in this situation. He conveyed that to certain friends and to his mother. So his living situation wasn't the best. But he was going to the doctor. He was taking medication. When he had a job, he was always, his bosses always gave him rave reviews. He was an awesome worker. But there were times when he didn't want to leave the house. He was afraid to go out. He would have panic attacks. And this did concern his mom. But he was under a doctor's care. So she didn't worry quite as much. 10 days before Stevie died, he called his mom. And she could tell something wasn't quite right. And then he just broke down and started sobbing. And as she describes it, not sobbing like teary, sobbing like a little boy sobs, the hiccups. And at one point in the conversation, he said to her, "Mom, I don't want to die." And she said, "You're not going to die. You're not going to die." And then they started talking about other things. He calmed down, and he was very excited. See, he had plans. He had really big plans for the fall. He had scored tickets to the Titans and Eagles game, which actually occurred after his death. That's something to remember. You should be taking notes, okay? He couldn't wait to go to this game. Huge fan. He wanted to see the Eagles and Titans play. He was so excited. His birthday was coming up. His birthday would have been in October. And his mom had planned a trip with, I guess, her and himself and to Atlantic City. And he couldn't wait to do that. He was a little concerned. He said, Mom, I don't want you to spend a lot of money. She said, don't worry about it. I got it covered. We're going to have a great weekend in Atlantic City. It's like, okay, great, Mom. I can't wait. Love you. Bye. That was the last time she talked to him. The day of his death, Stevie texted a friend of his. He texted, come get me. I'm leaving. I'm walking out. If you can't get me, I'll just walk. I'll find a bus. I have to get out of here. His friend was in the shower at the time of the text. So 15, 20 minutes later, he gets the text. He immediately texted Stevie back. He said, give me the address. Give me directions. I'm coming to get you. Someone in that house, someone with Stevie's phone, texted his friend back. You don't have to bother to come get him. He's dead. And that is how Stevie's mother's nightmare began. Stevie's mother got to the hospital. Her daughter was already there. And yes, her son was dead. It was real. And at the end of the day, there are more questions than answers. Most parents don't want to believe that their children committed suicide. So you may say, well, she's in denial. But as you continue to hear this story through my shows this week, you may start to have questions too. And you may find yourselves thinking, wait, this mother is a hero. She's fighting for her son. Every day on this show, I am going to put up the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline phone number. Stevie had plans. Stevie, according to everyone who knew him at the time of his death, was not suicidal. He wasn't talking about killing himself. But if you or anyone you know is suicidal, is thinking life isn't worth living, please remember that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and that there are people out there who love you and will help you. So here is the suicide prevention lifeline. It's 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. They are there to help you or anyone you love. They will tell you how to help them. But once again, is this story about a suicide? Well, the investigation is ongoing. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the drug factor. Not illegal drugs, not opioids, but prescription drugs that were supposed to help Stevie with his panic attacks, with his anxiety. And did they help? Did they contribute to his death? These are questions that we're going to ask on this show. This show has taken a lot of research. And once again, there is not a lot in the news or any public records that I can access about Stevie's death. There is not even anything in print that says he died of a gunshot wound. Again, the obituary is very short. He died in the company of his girlfriend. I'd like to know who sent that text to the friend. Don't bother to come get him. He's dead. I mean, who does that? What kind of text is that? Why would you send that? And I'd also like to know a little bit more about the girlfriend and her family. And that is only because, as was told to me by Stevie's mom, the girlfriend was asked to take a lie detector test and refused. Now, that's something to wonder about, isn't it? So we're going to delve deeper into this story in the next few days on this show. And like I told you at the beginning, there really is no end yet. The investigation into Stevie's death is ongoing, and his mother is in contact with the authorities in Maryland, who are charged with bringing closure for this family. But it's a slow process, and she's getting very frustrated, and I don't blame her. She's gotten the runaround not only from law enforcement, but from other areas, including even being able to obtain her son's medical records. Now you have to remember, Stevie was not married. He had no children. Technically, his mother is his next of kin, which means you would think she has rights. And in our future shows, we're going to tell you that, yeah, you may have the rights, but you're going to jump through hoops to get them. This September day, Stevie's mother's nightmare began. And it continues to this day. I hope by bringing this show to you, I will not only hear your comments, have you share your stories, your experiences with Stevie's mom, but I also hope to help her bring some closure. And I'm going to follow this story as far as it goes until its conclusion. You're not going to get it this week. But while you may be interested in what happens next, think about Stevie's mom. Her baby boy is dead. This is the first Thanksgiving without him. This is the first Christmas without him. And all the firsts are the worst. You know that. Anyone who's lost somebody, the firsts are the worst. But when it's your child, no matter how old he or she is, that hurt doesn't go away. It may dull a little bit, but it doesn't go away. And when you really don't know what happened in the last minutes, the last hours of your baby boy's life, that can eat away at you. So by sharing this story, I'm not only hoping to help other people out there, to give you information that is important for you to know about your adult children, but also to help Stevie's mom as her nightmare continues. Political Paula, out.